Welcome to Abstract Acrylic Painting with Ashley Kunz. We are going to paint this coral and lime painting. We are starting by loosely holding a graphite pencil and just kind of running it along the canvas and then rubbing a little bit of it in and just smearing it around a little bit. Next, I'm using a stencil and some Posca paint pens, and I'm just doing like the outline of the stencils in there, just adding some little circles that aren't filled in. And then I took this and forgot to record the next part. But basically, I just spray painted a little tiny bit. And then I'm using white to blend it all in. I didn't want those marks to stand out too much because they're the background. Now I'm taking this bakery tool and I rolled it through some very fluid paint and just dragged it along the canvas. Now I'm spraying these spider webs on there. I call them spider webs because look at how they look on your fingers. And then I'm using a brayer, and I'm just adding some hot pink and purple and rolling it on. I probably could have sped that part up a little bit. Dripping a little more on, rubbing it out, and I end up going with a totally different color combo later. Now I'm realizing that's a little too much hot pink for what I planned on doing, so I'm taking my Catalyst silicone wedge and rubbing some of that paint off. Now I'm adding some lime green again with that Catalyst wedge, and in a minute I just kind of tossed that on the canvas just to leave some really organic marks. And then I found that tool and I'm just doing a little bit of like lines through some of it, going in with the brush. And now I decided to lay down some peachy color. I felt like the hot pink was a little too aggressive for the project that I need to use this on, so I decided to tone it down a little bit. This does happen a lot when I paint. Sometimes I start with one color scheme. By the time I'm done with it, completely different. But that's okay. That's how we learn, and yeah. I really love this rose color that I'm putting on it right now. It's so pretty. So here I'm just using a paintbrush, and I just keep adding a little bit more color or white to that color I have mixed up just to give it a little bit of like different hues. And I'm just layering it all over the painting, kind of hiding that hot pink, pushing that back a little bit. And I'm just building up more and more layers. I'm avoiding that green right now because it's still really wet. I should have let it dry a little bit before I started adding the pink, because I started blending some green in with the pink and then we get a little muddy color. So I did have to fix some of that later on, but you don't even really notice it at this point. And that's okay because we're going to add so many more layers to this. It's going to be awesome. And now I'm just adding a little bit of purple. I'm splattering some of that purple on. And I really like the look of this part here. Now I'm going in with a fat aqua Posca paint marker. And again, holding it really loosely in my hand. I want organic marks, nothing too structured or serious. And I'm just using some stencils and cardboard tissues to protect my painting before I spray it with the spray paint here. Just adding another layer. I love that color. It's very like poppy like. And now I'm adding some pretty coral. And this is like the last color that I put on the canvas, but it's actually my favorite out of all the colors I used. It looks really pretty. Really just made everything pop. Yeah, I think it looks nice. Next up, we're going to start adding a little bit more white. So that wasn't actually the last color. I'm adding more layers. Sometimes I don't know what I'm going to do next in these voiceovers. So I'm adding some white because I really want these pieces to have a cleaner background. It seemed like it got very busy in there. So I'm just kind of tidying it up a little bit and blending some white in with that coral color. And I cut out a little bit here just because adding the white was taking so long. So if you see the colors kind of jump, that's why. Next, I am going to add some copper leaf onto this painting. So I'm starting with that Mona Lisa Speedball metal leaf adhesive and putting that on. Then I'm adding the copper sheets, and here you can see I'm just blowing on them to stick them to the canvas and to the glue. And I just find sometimes that works better if I'm working with like smaller pieces of metal leaf. And here I am just attaching everything. And I splattered some of the glue on there too, just so I would have some little dots of copper throughout. Now I'm just taking kind of a stiffer bristled brush and pressing the metal leaf down into the adhesive. This will just help it adhere better. And now it's time for my favorite part, brushing all that copper leaf off. So I'm using that stiff bristled brush again and just loosening it all up. And then in a moment, look at how satisfying. Oh, it's like glitter falling. And yes, this stuff does get all over my house. I find it in every single room, including the bathroom. It just sticks to everything. So now I'm brushing that off really good. And now I want to go in and do a little layering over the copper because I want that to feel like it's, you know, a part of the painting and not something that's just sitting right on top. So I'm adding in this gorgeous coral color, and I really love that one. Then I'm using a brush and some white paint just to blend it a bit, and this is a finished result. What do you guys think? It was quite a journey. Let me know if you guys like it, and if you like videos like this, if you want me to do more. Thank you guys all so much for watching. This painting is available in my shop, which is Ashley Kunz Art on Etsy.